Leanna is a solution architect at Lego. And she's going to talk about some of the online resources they have and a very, very cool new product that they're going to show. And, I'm not going to do a big intro, Leanna, but definitely you should, Leanna, you're a teacher.
Yes.
Before you worked at Lego.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Taught, I was in the classroom for many years, so I have 20 plus years in the world of public education before joining Lego Education full time. So taught everything from preschool to middle school, even taught a pre-service teachers class for instructional technology, and still occasionally will teach a graduate class on coding for teachers every now and then, which is, it's nice. It kind of keeps my toe in the space a little bit, so.
So you're one with the audience. That's great to know.
Absolutely.
So, Leanna, I'm going to hand it off to you. I'll be on the side here, and I'll come back in 20 minutes, and that is 11:10. Do I have that right? 11:10. We have 11. Then we have 10 minutes of Q&A before the next presentation. So I hand it off to you, Leanna. Have fun with the audience, and I'll see you at the back end.
Okay, thanks, Dave.
You bet.
Well, hello, everyone. I was going to say good afternoon, but I guess it really depends on what time zone you're in, on whether it's a good morning or good afternoon or good evening. But I thought it might be fun just to kind of to see how you all are feeling a little bit, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening. So I have some little friends here with me, and I thought, oh, it'd be fun if you all could just add in the chat the color of their flower regarding how you're feeling. So I have this little character right here. Maybe you're super happy to be here today. You're just smiling, you're having a good time, learning lots of cool things. So that would be the little red flower. Maybe you've sparked your playful side a little bit, and you're having a good time, but you're feeling a little playful this morning. That would be an orange. And maybe something just surprised you already. Maybe you learned something you didn't know, or something really sparked your interest, so you're kind of in astonishment, and that would be the pink flower. So let's see. Oh yeah, sometimes you kind of fall in between, right? You're having a good time, but you also learn something new. Kind of fun. Yeah, I love my little characters here. Great. Lots of people just happy to be here today. And so am I. I love these little characters. They're actually from a set that we sell called Build Me Emotions. And I just love the little Duplo faces that make me happy. But this is something that you could easily turn around and do with your own students. If you're in a face-to-face classroom, or if you're in a virtual setting, you can always use whatever it is that you have and just kind of get a feel for how everybody's doing when class starts, which is nice. Now, I'm going to ask you another question, just because I'm real interested, is how much you know about Lego education. Because some people know a little bit about Lego, but they maybe don't know a lot about Lego education. So we'll kind of do another little color poll, but this time I'm just using regular bricks, actually Duplo bricks, because they're big and they make it easy to see. So a yellow would be, I've heard of Lego. I maybe have purchased Lego for my children. Maybe I have stepped on a Lego brick. Not always great, but I've done it myself. You would be yellow. Blue would be, I've heard of Lego education. Maybe I've used something in the classroom before, but I don't really know a lot about what exists for Lego. And orange would be, I'm all about Lego education. Like, I know all kinds of things about Lego education. I might be a master educator. I'm, part of the community. So you would be orange. Oh, good. Lots of people all over the place. So some new friends and some friends that have known us for a while, which is fabulous. So just to let you know a little bit about who we are. So our mission is really to inspire and develop the builders of tomorrow. And we really want every student to be successful in that endeavor. You can find Lego education all over the world. We are actually in about 54 different countries. Our materials are available in multiple languages. So we are kind of all over the place globally. And something else that I thought it'd be really interesting to share with you all is last year, we actually did a study with Harris Poll around confidence in STEAM education. And so the Harris Poll people actually spoke with over 5,000 students, parents, and teachers in 5 different countries, just to learn a little bit about confidence in STEAM learning. Now, it probably won't surprise you if you're an educator, but do you think that most students are confident when it comes to STEAM learning? Would you say, no, maybe some? Yeah, believe it or not, the Harris Poll, which you can find the entire document, the study that we conducted, which has fabulous data in it, by the way, on our website. But fewer than 1 in 5 students are actually very confident when it comes to STEAM subjects. And that is something that parents and teachers also agree with. They see that students aren't very confident in this area. However, something else they also agree on is that hands-on learning can really help students be engaged, and it helps build student confidence when it comes to these subjects, and it makes them want to learn more. Students, according to this poll, really aren't risk takers, but when you give them the opportunity to have that hands-on experience, it allows them to take a risk and kind of build their confidence so they're willing to take another risk, right? So Lego education, we really think about how, because we're working to inspire and develop these builders of tomorrow. So what are some things that we can do to help teachers out in the classroom? So one is we really believe in learning through play, and bringing that playful hands-on experience in the classroom is so important. We also believe that working with others also helps build student confidence and leads to deeper understanding. It gives kids a real reason to use academic language when they're working with another person, because they're having conversations using that terminology that we hope that they're using. It also allows for teachers to kind of uncover some misconceptions that might be going on in instruction, right? And we know that all of these things really lead to this lifelong success. We want students to have a love of learning when they leave school. Now, I'm going to talk a minute about play. So I want you to think a minute about playful times that you might have had as a kid. And maybe you played outside. Maybe you played inside. Personally, I used to play a lot outside with my friends. And we would make games up. Maybe you all did kind of the same thing. But when you think about these playful experiences that you have, there's some things that are in common. And it really doesn't matter if you're 2 or 3, or if you were playing last week with your friends and, maybe you're 40 or 50 or whatever, but all of these things are present. You're usually having a great time. So you're smiling, enjoying yourself. It's usually a very meaningful experience. That's probably why you remember it so well, those play experiences when you were younger, right? You're engaged, so time kind of stands still as you're engaged in play. You often make things up as you go along. It's very iterative in nature, and it's often socially interactive. You're often playing with other people. And so when students are engaged with Lego in the classroom, or Lego education solutions in the classroom, we see these things present, right? Which is so much fun. Personally, I've had students, when I was in the classroom and we were working with some robotic sets, time really did stand. So I had to stop them and say, it's time for lunch. We need to take a break and get ready for lunch. They would have worked right through lunch, I'm sure, because they were that engaged with what was going on. So I get a lot of questions about Lego in general. Lego education is a little different. We're part of the big Lego group, but our solutions are really designed for classroom use. So the family back in the 1980s decided that, hey, there's a lot of teachers that are using our solutions in the classroom. We could help them out by, creating some things. So, our solutions, you'll find pieces that look like this. We have some big gears. We have pulleys. And then we have some robotic sets. This is one of our WeDo motors. I'm going to talk a little bit about this guy later, which is a ScIC. And this one back here, let me grab him. Oh, I got to really stretch. And Mindstorms. Mindstorms is probably the one most people are familiar with. Just a little fun fact, by the way, the name Mindstorms. Anybody know where that came from Lego Education? Anyone know? See, yes, MIT, very good. So Seymour Papert, absolutely. Seymour Papert wrote a book called Mindstorms, which is available for free from MIT. You can download and read it. But Seymour Papert actually worked with Lego Education to develop the very first programmable brick, which was a lot of fun. So, another question I get a lot of is, how can I use just Lego bricks that I have in my classroom? Like, maybe a parent has donated some things and, I have these in my classroom trying to figure out how to use them. I will say, if you have bricks in your classroom, you're trying to figure out a great way to use them, you can always ask kids to build models of something, right? Sometimes I even have kids out, I ask them a question and they have some bricks in front of them. I will actually have them build out their answer before they share. And that does a couple of things, right? One, it forces you as a teacher to give some wait time. Two, it gives students a model to speak to when they're answering a question. Three, it holds everyone accountable to answering the question. And if you have students that struggle with language, it gives them something to hold and talk to, point to and speak to when they're sharing, even if they're just sharing with a peer and not the whole class. And I'm a firm believer that if a student can build something, they can talk about what it is that they have built. And if they can talk about what they have built, then they can write about what they have built. Lego bricks are also a great way for kids just to build models of things that they see happening in the world around them too. So, if you've gone on a walk with your students, you could have them come back and build something that they noticed, something that surprised them in the world around them. They're also fun to use for kids to investigate phenomena, right? So it allows them to play with ideas and to play with science, maybe in a way that they haven't done before. So I'm going to take a minute to really talk about ScIC Prime. It's our newest robot that we have out, which I'm really excited about. He's kind of a cool little guy here. And so ScIC Prime was designed really with middle school students in mind, and really thinking about, how can we build confidence in students and really encourage, students of all backgrounds to be excited about learning science. If you're familiar with Lego Education, have used some things that we have had in the past, you'll notice that with ScIC Prime, our lessons are actually organized in units. So there's, 5 to 7 lessons per unit. They all have a learning promise, which is nice. All of our lessons, by the way, are available for free. You can find them all on Lego Education's website. Any software that we have that goes with our solutions are also free. You can download it on whatever device that you need. But along with those units and our lesson structure is an inquiry-based design. You might be familiar with 5E model. So you'll notice when you're looking through these lessons that they are in a 5E format. The other thing that I really like that Lego Education has started thinking about is how can they help teachers teaching in this kind of new way of learning, right? Where you're not quite sure if you're in a hybrid mode or a virtual mode, or face to face. So the new unit that we have out called Training Trackers for ScIC Prime is a science unit, but it's also broken up some of the pieces of that 5E lesson to help teachers think about what pieces and parts they can put online and use as a distance learning experience, which is fabulous. So with that being said, I have here, this is from a lesson called Stretch with Data. And I have built a yoga ball. Now, in full disclosure, I had never done yoga until I had built this yoga ball. So it is a lot of fun, but you'll notice that it turns. So one of the features of the ScIC Prime Hub is that it has a sensor built into the hub here, Gyro Sensor. So it detects movement. It detects movement on the for pitch and roll and yaw. So this particular little activity has students build the yoga ball, and then they practice some different yoga moves. And the lesson is really designed for kids to, one, collect data with a sensor that's going to graph in real time, which is fun. And then they try to match their movements with the graph. And kind of ask questions about, why is my graph going up and down, or why is my graph very parallel? So I thought I'd show you real quick kind of what this looks like. So I'm going to lay my yoga ring here on the table, and I'm going to download my program. Now, when you are using the yoga ring and you get started with it, you have to lay it flat so it kind of make sure that the sensor is set correctly. And I'm going to click my little arrow here, and then I can do some exercises here. So I'm just moving my little yoga ball up and down. And then I'm going to stop my data collection here, and I'm going to share my screen so you can kind of see what happens. So give me one little minute. So you can see here that it has collected some data for me. And so the purple line is the data that I had been collecting. Now I'm going to do this again and let you see it in real time. So it's going to download to my hub here, and it's going to give me a nice little countdown. And then it's going to tell me to stretch. So I'm going to click the arrow here, and you can see as I'm moving, it's also graphing the data. Now I'm moving my hands up and down. It's also kind of cool if you get kids to see what happens if they move it left and right. I wonder why the graph looks a little different. And I can peek back in here to my program and kind of show you what it looks like. So the program language is based on Scratch. So we have these blocks here, right? And you'll notice that it's actually plotting the pitch. I could actually, I could add a block to have it track pitch and roll and yaw if I wanted in different colors. But the graph itself is kind of cool because I can go back and I can start asking questions. You'll notice I can collect some very specific points of data, and it also generates a table for me. So it allows kids the opportunity to play with data in a different way, start asking questions. I wonder why, what happened here when, this line is straight. If you wanted to get into some math, you could actually have them calculate the slope of the line. And you can even extend this lesson and have students reach out to a yoga instructor and say, hey, if you were teaching yoga to people for the first time and you were trying to help them get really precise movements, would something like this help them, which would be kind of neat to do. So that's just one little activity we have in Science Trackers. And if you're interested, I encourage you to visit our LEGO Education website. And I'm going to give a shout out to our new community. So if you're looking at connecting with other educators who are interested in bringing playful learning experiences with LEGO in the classroom, we have a new community that launched over the summer. and it's free to join. And it's a great way to not only share resources that you have, but also get new resources, things that maybe you didn't know that you needed. You can ask questions to people in the community, but it's also a great way just to build your professional learning network with others. So that's all I have, Dave. I went over 1 minute. I hope that was okay. Sometimes I get rolling here a little bit.
Yeah, that was great. That was fun. I'm here. I'm reading the chat, and there's some funny questions here. It's pretty good. But yeah, it was really interesting. Thank you so much. I do have there's some really good questions here for you. The first, I just get asked this one.
Okay.
From Aaron Jason Cruz. Why do Lego bricks hurt so much when you step on them?
I don't know. That would be a fun experiment for some kid to figure out, maybe it just hits a particular pain point in your foot. But I will tell you that Legos, if you stand on them, I mean, they're pretty sturdy. Like, they're really hard to break. I've actually ran over one with my vehicle. So it didn't hurt my tire, but it does hurt when you step on them. That's true.
Yeah, they don't give when you step on them. You get.
I have seen slippers, though. Slippers that you can put on, in case you're walking around at night and they might be laying on the floor. It's always fun.
Funny. That's a pretty universal experience, though. That's funny.
Yeah.
There's some people I saw. So I think people didn't know there's a Lego education. So you're located on the East Coast. Well, you're not in the East Coast. You're in Kentucky. Was that right? Do I remember that right?
Yes, I'm in Kentucky.
Kentucky, but the office for Lego education is in Boston, right?
Yes, for North America, it's in Boston. But because we're a global company, our global headquarters are still located in Billund, Denmark. Home of Lego, which is fun.
Right. Yeah, but so in Boston, this is where you're developing the resources and the activities to do and everything, right?
Yes. So in Boston, we have what is called our local network, which was hard for me to wrap my head around when I started, but that's really for the U.S. So sometimes we develop things specifically for the U.S. market, out of the Boston office. So that might be lessons and activities and things like that.
Oh no, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, lessons that you find online are global lessons. Those are all created over in Denmark. So.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think, those resources are great. When I met with Lana and Ariana, who's on chat, doing a great job. Thank you very much. I went through the materials. There's great materials. A lot of schools have Legos already. A lot of people have them at home if you're doing home learning. So there's activities you can actually go get right now and do. So that's really helpful.
Yes, they're actually, over the summer, we realized that, and now too, even in my home state here in Kentucky, we have a lot of parents who are still working with their children since we're in virtual learning mode here in Lexington. But we developed some resources for hybrid learning. So there's some tips for teachers as well as for parents, and then a whole bunch of activities that you can do with kids if you just have bricks to kind of spark creativity and keep that love of learning just going all year round.
I saw an interesting question. Is there a virtual Legos? I'm wondering if there's like virtual Lego activities.
Virtual activities for Lego. That's a really good question. We don't have anything from Lego Education outside of our software. We do have a new studio on Scratch. So we just launched a virtual project using a version of our little hopper. He's shaped like a grasshopper, which you don't need any Lego bricks to use that website, which is kind of fun. It allows kids to get familiar with Scratch programming language and create some cool projects with some Lego inspired sprites, which is fun. But yeah, so that's what we have currently.
Oh, that's cool. So you have Lego sprites in Scratch.
Yes.
So people may not know, but Scratch is a language, a programming language for education that's built by MIT Media Library. If you just go to scratch.org, I believe it's .org, not .com. Somebody should post the link here. There's a lot of international teachers here, and they may not be familiar with MIT Media Lab and Scratch. It's an amazing, amazing resource. It's all free, and there's tons of activities there. So it's definitely, I see people posting it. Scratch.mit.edu. Okay.
Yes. And from what I remember, you can actually change the language for the blocks and things in Scratch. So if you're not an English speaker, you can change the language with a little globe, I think, in the corner that allows you to do that.
Yeah, I believe they have, yeah, that's right. They have localization. We've seen that. It's very nice. It's actually very nice.
Yes.
And then, I just have some Lego questions because I'm a big Lego fan. How long have you been at Lego? You set up front?
Yeah, so I've been with Lego Education full-time for almost 3 years. And prior to joining full-time, I served as a trainer for them for almost 3 years. So I trained for a little bit and then joined full-time.
What's it like to visit Lego in Denmark?
Oh, it was amazing, amazing. There are just Lego builds everywhere. I mean, starting in the airport, when you walk off the plane, you just see Lego builds everywhere, and as a community, it's a very small little town. Billund is. It's not very big, and Lego is just everywhere. So there's some fun things to do there. Of course, there's a Lego park and a Legoland hotel, but I spent some time at the Lego house, which is unique to Billund. So if you're looking at it from the aerial view, it looks like just some big Lego bricks stacked on top of one another. But that was a fun place to visit.
That's pretty neat. It must be kind of magical to go see that. I think it brings out the kid in you.
Yes, yes. I should tell you too, I mentioned how play is really important to Lego. One of the things that surprised me when I started working for Lego Education was Lego as a company takes a day every year where the whole company plays. It's a play day for everybody. So they really embrace playful learning, and they want their employees to remember what it's like to be a kid, and to enjoy that playful experience. So that was fun.
Yeah, that's pretty neat. So I see people asking that Billund, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, Billund.
Yeah, so there's things that are open to the public if people actually visit it.
Yeah, you can visit the Lego house. You can go to Legoland. You can walk by the home of the Christensen family, like where it all started. It's kind of neat because old Kirk Christensen was actually a carpenter before he got into making Lego bricks, and you can still see buildings that he worked on that are still standing over there, which is kind of cool. So.
That is really cool.